so I'm going to show you some words. Okay. Do you see any similarities or words in these that you recognize? Skylar?
They all have prefixes.
That's right. They do all have prefixes. Do you notice anything else?
They have suffixes.
Suffixes. Okay. Do you see any words in these words that you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Like which ones?
Color.
Color. Okay.
And
Okay. Okay.
small.
Right.
And what is loud?
Okay, so these words are actually have different parts. So some words have parts, and these parts can go before or after a word. So before a word, they will be known as prefixes. Right. I think y'all actually went over this a little bit. And then after a word, they will be known as suffixes because they come after the base or the root word. Okay, so for example, in mismatch, the prefix in mismatch would be miss, and the base word would be match. So miss is a prefix that means to not. So if miss means to not, what do you think mismatch means?
You don't match.
Right, you don't match. Like mismatch day. You wear all kind of crazy colors, right? Yeah, okay. Alright, and then, let's look at this one. So this is loudly. The suffix in loudly would be the ly, and then the base word or the root word would be loud, right. Okay, and then loudly, the ly is usually put on a word. It makes it like an adjective. So for loudly, the ly would mean like in a loud way. Like, so somebody would say something in a loud way, or loudly.
So it's like, would that be like an adverb? Like loud?
Yeah, it actually would be an adverb at the top. Okay, so the interesting thing about prefixes and suffixes is that most of the time when they stand by themselves, they don't make a real word. So for example, ly. Is that a real word?
No.
Ly? No. What about miss?
No.
No. However, sometimes there's an exception. So let's look at this word. This word. Endless, exactly. So where is there a prefix or suffix in this word? Suffix. What's the suffix? Less. Okay. I'm glad you pointed that out. Now, what's the root word? End. Now, the only thing about this word is that less is a real word, isn't it? But in this case, less actually describes end. So less means lack of. So if less means lack of, what do you think endless means?
Like it never stops.
Never ends, right? It has no ending. Okay. So let me get you these together. All right, and then we have prefixes, suffixes. So we said that endless goes under which one? Is that a prefix or a suffix?
Suffix.
Suffix. And what's the suffix?
Less.
Okay. It does, because they kind of, like I said, both words actually they can be separated.
But if you say it, like you could figure out that it's a suffix because like endless.
Right, exactly. Okay, and then mismatch. What did we say about mismatch?
It's a prefix.
Prefix. What's the prefix?
Miss.
Yes. Okay, what about loudly?
Suffix.
Okay. Alright, now what about colorful? What's the suffix?
Full.
And what's the root word?
Color.
Color. What about uncover?
Prefix.
What's the prefix?
On.
What's the base word?
Cover.
So what do you think uncover means?
Like you get
Not cover. Right, because un means to not, so this would be to not cover. Okay. Here's an interesting one. Smallest.
Suffix.
Suffix. What's the suffix? Okay, and then what is the base word? Small. So this word, I think you actually learned about that. I think we learned about this earlier this week. Describing, right. So when this is usually like compare things. So you would say the blue ball is the smallest.
Or a collar is
Right. Right, exactly. Okay, so this goes where? Suffix. Okay. Sandy. Suffix. What's the suffix in this word? Y. And what's the root word? Sand. Okay, so when you add a Y to a noun, which would be, sand would be a noun, right? Because that's something, it's a thing. So if you add a Y to a noun, it makes it an adjective. What's an adjective?
Explaining.
It describes it, right? An adjective describes words.
It's describing.
Right, okay, so you could say sand would be what you see on the beach, but sandy would be what your towel is when the tide comes in and it makes it all sandy, right? Okay, so this goes in the suffix. Okay.
Prefix.
Prefix. Good job. Why do you say it's a prefix?
Because pre is a prefix.
Mhm.
And then heat is a real word.
Right. Right.
Prefix.
Prefix. Incorrect.
In.
What's the prefix?
And
And what's the
correct.
is the bin word? I mean the base word?
Correct.
Okay, so prefix.
That's how you say it.
All right, retail. Last one.
Prefix.
Prefix. What's the prefix?
Ready.
And what's the
Tell.
Greek word?
Tell.
Okay, and what do you think it means to retell
Like,
something?
you would
Like you're retelling a story.
So you would do what again?
You would
tell
you
it
would
again.
tell it.
Tell it again. Good job. Okay. You did great with that. Okay, so the next thing we were going to do is we're actually going to read a book today called Leo the Lion. Now, this is a book about two boys who go fishing, but when they go fishing, they get lost in the woods on their way to go fishing. So as you read, you're going to figure out how they find their way back home, pretty much. Okay, so I'm going to pass out the book to each student. Okay, and then so I want you to look at like the front cover and the back cover. Don't open it up yet. Just look at the front and the back. Look at the pictures. So based on the front and back covers, what do you think this book is going to be about? Cynthia?
Two boys that go fishing and while they're trying to go fishing, they'll get lost in the woods and try to find their way out.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because right here, when the boys are here and they're picking up worms,
What do you think they're going to do with those worms?
to put them out to sea and catch fish.
Okay.
And on the back of it, you see them getting lost here.
Because they're in the woods. Yep. Okay, so now I want you to flip to the second page, and there's actually a blank page in between each one, so you just kind of know that. The table of contents is on page 3. So read over the headings.
Leaving the city.
Or you can read to yourself. That's fine. It's okay. Okay. So now, do you have any more ideas about what you're going to read?
Yeah.
Okay, what's some of those ideas? Skylar?
The boys that live in the city, and they when they get out of the city, they go into the woods, and it gets dark out, and then they start feeding us, and then they come back home.
That's a good summarization. Okay. Does anybody else have any thoughts? Okay,
So they live in a city and they go and they get lost and they try like the thing where it says the stars. It gets nighttime, so they use the stars to try and find their way.
That's a good prediction. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So would you say this book would be fiction or nonfiction? Fiction. Why do you think it would be fiction, Cynthia?
Because people can really start going into the woods and trying to find a lake, and they can get lost, and they don't know where they're at.
Okay, so this actually, that's exactly right. This is actually interesting because nonfiction usually means real life, but fiction usually means fake, fantasy. But this is a realistic fiction because it's
It could actually happen.
right. It's a made-up story. So there actually, might not have been two boys named this and that did this, but can you go fishing in real life?
Yeah.
Can you go fish? Can you get lost in the woods?
Yeah.
So it would be realistic fishing. Okay, so go ahead and close your book and set it in front of you. So before we start, I want you to remember a couple of words that we're going to see in this book. And understanding these words will help you comprehend, and it'll also help you make connections in the book. Have you ever heard of making connections? Yeah. Okay. So the first word that you're going to see is incredulous. So incredulous, can you say that word? Incredulous. Incredulous means amazed. Can you tell me a time that you felt incredulous or amazed by something? Like
When my dad was head coach for a football team and we beat Concord for the first time.
so why were you amazed?
Because we had never beat Concord and we beat them, so really excited.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, Skylar?
When my stepdad puts me on a wet phone and he turned it white.
He turned white. See, why are you amazed by that?
Because he looks funny.
Looks funny? Oh. Okay. Alright, so the next word we're going to look at is array. You say array? Array. So array means a varied collection. So in this story, the two boys actually see an array of stars in the sky. So that means they might see like lots of different. It's kind of, it's not exactly like array in math. Right, exactly. You have a varied collection. So they saw an array of stars in the sky because there's lots of different stars. A bunch, yeah, a bunch of different kinds. No, not that kind of array. But that was a good connection though. And then, so you could say a farmer has an array of animals on his farm because he has lots of different animals, right? Yeah, okay. The next word is, this is actually a big word for me to say, exacerbated. Exacerbated.
Like it's over-exaggerated?
Not quite. Exacerbated actually means worsened, or to make something worse than it already has been. So for example, a boy exacerbated his sore ankle when he twisted it playing basketball. So the boy's ankle was already sore, but when he played basketball again, he twisted it, and he made it even worse. Right, so that's exacerbated. Okay. The next word is inadvertently. Can you say that word? Inadvertently, that's a big word. Okay, this actually, it doesn't even, it's a big word, but it just means accidentally. So when you accidentally do something. So
I inadvertently broke my little cousin's collarbone.
Exactly, that's good. Okay, so here, save that for just a second. Okay, so in the story, one of the boys, Leo, he inadvertently or accidentally steps on a twig in the forest. He scares away a fox because the fox hears him snap the twig. So turn to your partner. So these two, Skylar and you, William, and then Megan and Blake, and tell them a time when you inadvertently did something. Accidentally did something.
Oh, I inadvertently broke my little cousin's collarbone. Because we were racing and my foot was so at practical, and he ran right in front of me, and he tripped and he landed right on his shoulder like this, and he broke his collarbone.
Okay, so I think Colin said this one. He said I inadvertently broke a window. Is that what you said? Was it baseball? Did baseball have the window?
Like I was throwing it, like up against the house, like I was throwing the tennis ball against the house, and it was bouncing.
Oh.
I threw it to the window, and I like broke it.
See, that would be a good example because he didn't mean to break the window. I'm sure your parents. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Okay. So the next word is quaint. Can you say this word? Quaint. Quaint just means old-fashioned but nice looking. So I could say that my Nana's rocking chair was quaint because it's old-fashioned because she used it when she was a little girl, but it still looks good. So, yeah, kind of like antique.
My grandma is quaint.
Is she old-fashioned? But she still looks nice. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the last word that we're going to do, or you're going to read about, is respective. Good job. So respective means individual or your own. So each of you have a respective thought or feeling. That you have respective thoughts or feelings because you have your own thoughts and your own feelings, right? They're each your own. So that's respective. Okay. So I want you to use these words that we just went over, and when you come across it in the text, I want you to make as many connections or use them to help you make connections. Okay. Okay. So making connections helps the reader understand. So there's actually 3 types of connections that you can make, and they're actually on your sticky notes in front of you. The first one is a text-to-self connection. The next one is a text-to-text connection. And then the third one is a text-to-world connection. So a text-to-self would mean
Yourself.
when you read something, it reminds you of an experience that you had. Right? Exactly. Yes, Colin.
We had to do this like for our reading log last year. Like we had to when we were writing about the book, we had to circle it for that the text to sound.
Exactly. So good. You already have practice with it. Okay, so the second one is text-to-text. So this would mean when you read something in this story, it will remind you of another book.
Yeah.
Right? Or rather, right, another book that you've read. And then the last one is text to world. So that means that something you read.
Something in the world.
Yes, exactly. It reminds you, something that you read in this book reminds you of something that you've learned maybe in another class or you saw.
The earthquake terror, it reminds me of 1906, like when the other earthquake.
When the other. Yes, that would be good. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Text to, this actually is a different, earthquake terror is another text connection. Do you know which one it is?
Text to world.
We just
Text to text.
Text to text, because what kind of book do we say this was?
Realistic fiction.
Realistic fiction, that's right. And what other book did you just read that was also realistic
Earthquake
fiction?
terror.
Exactly.
Because
So
it wasn't real, but it could have
And they got
happened.
lost.
Exactly, okay. So we have a chart back here. So this would go under text to text, right? Because we have earthquake terror and Leo the Lion. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to put ET for earthquake terror under text to text. Because it reminds you of it because it's what kind of fiction?
Realistic, like the movie.
Yeah, that actually does look like that. Okay. Alrighty. So now, a little bit of background knowledge. This book talks a lot about constellations. So who can raise their hand and tell me what they know about constellations? Colin.
Like lion and stars.
Okay, yep. Skylar.
They show different shapes.
Okay, yep, they do.
They show like pointed ways where you have to go.
You guys are awesome. That's like everything I was going to say. They can help people find direction. They are like a group or an array of stars in the sky that make different shapes. And they're actually make shapes that people use like in Greek mythology, things like that. They make
And
like,
then what is a pole and everything.
that's exactly right. Okay, so where's a good place do you think you could see constellations?
Outside.
Outside at night.
When stars.
During day, the clouds.
Can you see stars during the day?
No, I said clouds.
Did you see the clouds?
Yes.
Well, constellations are actually a group of stars.
Oh, that's.
So they would be seen probably more likely.
And the clouds move, the stars move.
Alright, okay. Alright, so I want you to go ahead and open your book. As you're reading, right before you start reading, I want you, as you read, we're going to stop, the first section we're going to stop on page 8. So it's actually the end of each chapter, so you'll see a heading that'll end the chapter, so you just stop there. But as you're reading, I want you to make as many connections, or look for as many connections in this chapter that you can. And so when you find a connection, I want you to take your sticky note, and depending on what kind of connection you made, I want you to stick it right there. So we can go back to it, okay? And then at the end, we're going to record it on the chart. Okay? So go ahead. Yes. You just, if you need, you use what you can, and if you need another text to self, then just let me know and I'll get you another one, okay? But just record or I guess mark your place when you might find a connection. So go ahead and start reading for yourself and stop on page 8. so let's see. Who can tell me a connection they made for this chapter? Skylar. What page is your connection? 6. Okay, so everybody turn to page 6. All right, what connection did you make?
It says that incidents that Lucinda crouched down and Julia was tight, but said it didn't require much effort because Leah was playing with it untaller than the average fifth grader.
Okay, what is that connection?
Since I'm the smallest one in class, everybody gets so crouched down.
Okay, so you kind of related to
Small.
Leo when Lucinda kind of had to crouch down to her, to him. Okay, so that kind of text.
I put
connection to that
one on
there.
there too. I put the same thing because
You put the same thing?
I'm taller. I'm kind of taller than an average fifth grader.
Okay, all right. So what kind of connection would this be?
Text to self.
Text to self, and then so we're going to say connected or taller than average fifth grader. How about that? Okay, does anybody else have a connection that they made other than Corinthia?
4. Page 4.
Oh, page 4? Okay.
When my mom and my dad got divorced and when we had to move to the city from Maryland, and we moved here.
So you connected, so this was what kind?
But,
Text to self? Okay. So you related with having separated parents, I guess, right? Okay. Okay. All right, so those were good for starting off. Okay, so now we're going to keep reading. We're going to read to page 12. So go ahead and start on page 9. But as you're reading, remember you can take off this one if you want to. Or if you want to keep it on there, that's fine. But as you read, keep making connections, and when you're finished, I want you to stop on page 12.
Are we always on computer on Tuesdays?
No, not every day. Not every Tuesday. And when you're done, just go back and look through that chapter again, because I want you to make as many connections as you can, okay? So go ahead. We're going to stop at page 12. Yes. So, can anybody tell me a connection they made in this chapter? Cynthia.
I make text because when daughters and it said
On what page did you make this on?
number 9.
Number 9, okay. Go ahead.
When I moved to the country, I thought when I moved to the country, I think because bugs and stuff, you can hear everything. I think something falls behind me.
So you get kind of scared out there? Yeah, okay. All right, so I'll write that up there.
I made a text to someone.
Blake, you made a text to self. What did you say?
Because my house is surrounded by about 500 acres of nothing but woods. So it says what the woods are like at his house, and it says everything, like all the details about it and stuff. So it kind of reminds me of my house.
Okay, so the kind of outdoor country, well, I guess woods kind of thing reminds you of your house. So that's okay. Skylar, what did you make?
On page 9, it says that you suddenly wrestling in nearby trees that made the ocean. Well, one time when I was in the woods with my brother, we didn't hear that my cat followed me. So, she was in a bush, and when my brother turned around, he said, "Wow, what is that?" And I said, "I don't know." And then my cat jumped out and it started falling at my brother's feet. He screamed really
Oh, that's not good. So instead of a fox, it was a cat. This time it kind of scared you. Okay. Yes, Colin. What did you make?
I made number 8.
Page 8.
The self because me and my friends go fishing a lot.
Okay, so that's good. All right, so it sounds like y'all make a lot of text to self. So I'm going to say fishing is 1. And then also I made a text to text connection on page 11 because, and I remember in Earthquake Terror, Jonathan and Abby, right? They were stuck by themselves. So that I made a text-to-text connection because Leo and Dontrell are so lost by themselves without any parents. So that was my text-to-text connection. So say another one would be Earthquake Terror 2 Kids Lost. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and keep reading. This time I want you to stop on page 18. And remember, what are we going to keep looking for while we're reading?
Text to text.
And our words.
Connections, right? And your words, yep, that's right. Okay, so this time I'm going to walk around, and if I stop by you, I just want to like hear you whisper read, okay? Just like whisper read. So I can listen to you read. And I'm also going to be checking for connections, so make sure you make them. So go ahead and start reading. so I need somebody give me one text to text connection. Blake, what page is yours on?
13.
13, okay.
It said that they used the stars to find their way back. And I wrote a book one time called The Missing Dog, and somebody took got a little boy's dog, and the little boy's dad went out, and they had the dog, and they got lost, and they used the stars to find them.
Oh, okay, so do you remember the name of that book? The Missing Dog. Okay, so we're going to say, used the stars to find their way Okay, Renthia, what's yours?
Text to world.
Text to world. Oh, good, because we're missing text to world. We need some more of those.
That the sun, the stars are like our gases and
Are their gases and what?
Their gases like the sun.
Right, so where did you learn that at?
And fourth grade.
In fourth grade.
We didn't learn
class.
science in
I did.
Okay, all right, so you're right, that is a science fact, so you could say you learned that stars are balls of gas. Is that kind of what you're saying? Okay. I'm sure y'all talked about stars at some point in one grade, whether or not it was fourth grade or not. Okay. Okay. One more text connection. Yes, Skylar. Page 17. Okay, so there's a lot of similarities from this book and Earthquake Terror, aren't there? Yeah, there's a tragedy. Okay, so...
Because there's two people in Earthquake Terror and two people in here that can both get lost.
Right, okay. So we're going to say Earthquake, Terror again, and we're going to say Creek. They both have creeks. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and finish. So I want you to go ahead and finish the book.
Also, for Earthquake Terror, you know when it says separated parents?
That's right, they are. You're making all those connections. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and finish the book. And so when you're done, like I said, just go back and look, and if you haven't made any connections, we're going to go ahead and finish it up. And I'm going to keep walking around, and if I stop with you, just read out, like we'll read silently. Whisper will read it to me, but otherwise you can read silently. Okay? Everyone finished? Okay. You made another connection. All right, I'm gonna take 3 connections this time.
19. I got one.
All right. Okay, 19. Okay, what connection did you make?
It's a text to self because he hurt Leo and Rosie and got scared and jumped. And it reminds me of when I was little and I went to the scare bear that they don't have in Richburg because they always go to that. And I went when I was like 5 and we walked into this really dark room and we couldn't see anything. But we heard stuff and we heard one person say just keep walking. And then we kept hearing noises. And then lights flashed on really quick and there was like people with masks on their face and stuff. And it scared me.
Yeah, okay. So, Megan, did you make any connections for this chapter? You didn't find anything? Did you see any more similarities between earthquake terror and No? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, William, what about you? Did you make any connections? No? Okay, well how about let's take a look at page 20. Everybody turn to page 20. Did you find a connection on that page? Yeah? Okay, so it says that they are staring at the sky and they're pointing to the North Star. So, Megan, could that be a connection to maybe textual world? Where do we say that we learned about stars? In science class. So would that be a connection? Yeah, so there we go. So there's one connection. Okay, Colin, what was your connection on that page?
When Leo and Dr. heard something, I remember, when it's texting, I remember an earthquake here, and when Addie, she was so close to the shore, and she could get it off, and go to the shore, and it kept moving on, so they were like really friendly.
Okay, so you made a text connection with earthquake terror and the characters. They're both brave characters. Okay, so that would be a good one. All right, so let's look back at, well, actually, let me go ahead and pass this out. We're just going to go over this together since we're kind of running out of time. But, so you can go ahead and slide your book over. Alrighty. So, you just set this right here. Right side. Okay. Alright, so can you two share this one? Okay, so we're just going to go over this really quick. Go ahead and write the title at the top of on the top of the line. So, what's the title? Leo the Lion. Okay. Alright, so if you look at the biggest oval, it's My Life. So these are connections that you make to these different titles in the bubble. So the first one, the biggest one will be My Life because as you can see from our thing, we have a lot of text to self connections. So let's name one text to self connection that we can place in there. Okay, William, tell me one text to self connection that you could put in there. Taller than a 5th grader. That would be a good one. Okay, so we'll go ahead and write that in there. Okay, so let's look at the math one. This one may be a little tricky because I don't know if we talked about a lot of math, but there actually is one way we can connect math to this. Does anybody know what that could be?
They're connecting. Constellation.
There we go. There you go, Megan. See, you just made a connection. Okay, so Megan said that the angles of the constellation. So that would be angles like in geometry and math kind of thing. So you could write angles in that bubble.
How do you spell constellation?
Constellation is C-O-N.
Science science, we can write
hold on, Blake. STENSTELLATIONS. There you go. All right, go ahead, Blake.
for science, we could do the stars.
That's right. All right, so he's moving on to the next one. Science, you could write stars.
And I have one for social studies.
All right, hold on just a second. Do I have stars in there? All right, Colin, you have one for social studies?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
And they were talking about constellations, they were talking about like these stars, brothers, and stuff.
Yeah, there we go. So like
The one with the sword?
mythology, right? So you could say Greek mythology.
I only write Greek, that's too.
That you can write Greek. That works too. Okay, so what's the next one? Language arts. Okay, I know a really big one for language arts.
Contact clue? No.
Cynthia?
You talking about the word in the book or?
I don't know. You tell me. Which one do you think would fit in there?
The text to sell thing?
Okay, what kind of text to sell?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Blake, what are you thinking?
I was thinking the prefixes and suffixes.
There we go. That's the one I was thinking of. So remember when we talked about prefixes and suffixes at the beginning? And for our words, some of these words have prefixes and suffixes on it. For example, this word right here, inadvertently. This actually has a prefix and a suffix. Yeah, N and L-Y. So that would be a good one for language arts. Okay. And then William, what do you think you could put for other books? How does this connect to other books? Okay, right. So earthquake terror, they heard noises in the woods, or they were scared. You could write that in there. So you could write earthquake terror. You could just write ET for short.
Art.
All right, art is the next one.
Pictures.
The star.
Stars, what kind of?
Constellations.
Okay, and then Blake said art, like pictures. So where could you get pictures from? Like, how do you connect the pictures?
Like pictures on the book.
Okay, so you mean like illustrations. Okay, that'll work. And write pictures in the book. Okay. And then music. This one you kind of have to stretch a little bit. Can anybody make any music connections
Yes.
from this book? Corinthia?
The noises in the woods.
Okay, there you go. So have you ever listened to like crickets or the creek? The creek makes a stream noise. Yeah.
Cause I go to the creek at my house, and one time I was back there with my friend, and the acorns are falling off the tree, and like the acorn would go, and then the creek would make a noise,
Right.
and it started making like a beat and stuff.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the last one is physical education or PE.
Running.
Running, there you go. They're running. They're doing a lot of running in this book. He drops his fishing rod. He runs.
The fox.
The fox is running. That's right.
Okay,
Okay, so when everybody's done, make sure you have your name on this. And if you're sharing one, Corinthia, make sure you put, or Colin, make sure you put your name on there too.
I've put in the beer before.
Okay.
Died, and it was still alive.
All right, I have one more question for you, Blake. Again. Okay. Actually, all of you, I just want to get your question. What did you think about this book? Did you like it?
It was awesome.
Did you like it? Why did you like it?
Because it had a lot of action.
She said she was short.
And then action.
I thought it was funny because the kids were
Yeah, he was scared of the
Megan,
fox.
why did you like this book?
Because it wasn't boring.
Wasn't boring. Well, that's good. William, did you like this book? Why did you like it? What did you like about it? You just liked it? Okay. Skylar, did you like this book? Kinda. Okay. So kind of so-so?
Yeah.
Why did you kind of so-so like it?
Because
You didn't like it. Okay.
I like it, but I didn't like it because the only girl in there was the singer.
Oh, okay. So you want it to be more girls in it? Yeah. You think you can connect to it better if it had more girls? Yeah, you can make some more connections. That's right. Okay.
Grade 15?
Yes, one more.
I like the book because when the boy, when he jumps like, and it compares to human life.
When the boy jumps where?
No, like, the book compares to human life.
Okay, I got you. Okay. All right, well, I hope that you can think about these connections the next time you're reading a book in Miss Nolan's class, and then you could kind of help think about them and maybe help you understand the book a little better. So, all right, I think everybody's.
All we need is links.